My father used to tell me that in life there are two certainties, death and taxes, but in this era of the modern automobile, there's another certainty. That certainty is with any popular Toyota, there's always going to be a hybrid model. And with this Corolla Cross, it didn't start out as a hybrid, but now that it's here in the market in a very hotly contested segment of the market, there is now a hybrid model. I'm your special guest host on MotoManTV, Brian Max. Join me as we have a look at this latest hybrid from Toyota. I've been asked countless times why Toyota added another crossover to their lineup. I mean, they already had lots of crossovers to begin with, and when they did, why did they call it a Corolla? Now, on one hand, we do know what a Corolla is. And with Corolla, that's the kind of car we recommend to our friends who are looking for something safe, reliable, and efficient. And this Corolla Cross fits in that Toyota lineup nicely between the CHR and the RAV4. And at first glance, this Corolla Cross is true to the Corolla name. You sit inside and what you see in front of you in terms of that dashboard, it's very, very familiar Corolla. There's still the 2-liter 4-cylinder engine under the hood, but in this Corolla Cross Hybrid, it's paired to Toyota's 5th generation hybrid system. What that really means to you and me is that this is meant to be very fuel efficient. Toyota says it's capable of getting 42 miles per gallon combined city and highway. One thing to keep in mind about this Corolla Cross Hybrid is that it's all-wheel drive only. There is no front-wheel drive version available. And if you like to tow things like I do, this is actually capable of towing a small trailer up to 1,500 pounds. Let's see what all of these electrons and horsepowers can muster. A little bit of wheel spin. The road is wet. Gets up to speed, no problem whatsoever. Of course, the CVT optimizes the engine's operating speed, and it feels a little bit slower than the official numbers. According to Toyota, are 0 to 60 in about 8 seconds. Certainly the wheel spin on this wet road surface didn't help, but what was interesting is that we did experience a little bit of almost instant torque transfer to the rear wheels, which is exactly what you want from an all-wheel drive crossover like this. You can throw it into a sport mode, and you've got shift paddles in the sport mode. What it does is optimizes engine speed for quicker acceleration. So yes, you're going to get lousy fuel economy if you drive around in sport mode all the time, but when you're driving on some mountainous, hilly conditions like I'm doing here, you can actually use the shift paddles and it mimics a manual transmission. At this point in the episode, MotoMan loves talking about people, packaging, and pets. As someone who has had a Labrador Retriever for about 2 years, I understand what happens to a vehicle with a pet. And here's the thing, this Softex is kind of a winner. With one of our family cars, our Labrador Retriever has taken over the back seat and it is unfit for humans now. Normally, I advocate for cloth interiors because I'm doing the driving and that's what I'd like to sit on. But in this case, with animals or a young family, Softex is just a winner. Otherwise, back here, what you may not be aware of is the battery for the hybrid system is here under the seat. That way it's out of the way. It doesn't take up any cargo space anywhere else in the vehicle. When you're on the move, this Corolla Cross Hybrid kind of drives like you expect it to. It is not a car. It's not a regular Corolla 4-door or hatchback, so you're seated a little higher off the ground. So straight away, a little bit of body roll is noticeable. Braking is strong and positive, and keep in mind, there is some regenerative braking going along at the same time. One of the things that engineers have a really hard time with is calibrating the actuation of the brakes through the pedal and blending that with regenerative braking, and they've done a very good job here. It does seem like the additional weight of the all-wheel drive system, of the hybrid system, is apparent when you're here. It's not a huge penalty, but how it actually shows itself is in the rear suspension. There's just a little bit extra secondary movement as we hit some road imperfections like that from the rear suspension. Otherwise, what I do find is there is excellent body and wheel control in the suspension. Damping is excellent here, and the suspension is very much tuned for a comfortable ride, not outright handling. It is indeed that time of the show, your favorite time of the show, where we get to play the options game with our latest contestant, the Corolla Cross Hybrid. Base price of the S is $27,970. The SE, $29,290. XSE is $31,065. Now, some considerations are that if you want the 18-inch wheels, that's the XSE only. The optional paints are an additional $425, and this two-tone paint with the black roof is an additional $500. This is probably the coolest look. Cloth seats are in the S and SE models, while the XSE gets soft text. It's actually quite a nice interior. The $1,200 50 convenience package and $615 adaptive headlamps are only available on XSE. These prices, of course, do not include freight, delivery, etc. But with your Corolla Cross, you do get complimentary scheduled maintenance for 2 years or 25,000 miles, whichever comes first. Now back to driving it around, and from my perspective behind the wheel, first of all, love the seating position, by the way. I'm seated relatively low to the floor, very comfortable here, great relationship to the steering wheel, to the pedals, lots of adjustment in the steering column as well, and I think most people can find a very comfortable seating position. It has standard wireless CarPlay and standard wireless Android Auto. Like modern cars should be in 2023, there is a USB-C connection, not the old school USB connection. So most people are transitioning to that anyway. You can connect wired or wirelessly to this car. You can turn this Corolla Cross Hybrid with the system into a hotspot with 4G connectivity. I think up to 5 different devices can connect to the car. What's a little bit more advanced here is that you've got voice control over the system, and more than just simple controls. So you can use voice commands for volume, for the audio system, for navigation, as well as climate controls. So what have we learned today? A whole lot, I think. And here's the thing with the Corolla Cross Hybrid. Toyota has thrown this into the middle of a very competitive segment. Think about who doesn't have a competitor to this Corolla Cross Hybrid. Kind of everybody does. It's like being thrown into the middle of a firefight in Call of Duty. It's extremely competitive, but if your KPIs for a crossover are safety, reliability, and efficiency, that's what this Corolla Cross is all about. Now, in terms of a wish list, I just have one thing, and it's because I'm a dumb racing driver, and that is the transmission. Yes, I know the CVT is very well resolved here, but this dumb racing driver would love an automatic transmission in a Corolla Cross Hybrid. And if anybody could do that, it's certainly Toyota. I'm just one guy. I can dream. Now, it's that time in the episode now where we turn it over to you. If you have any questions or comments, please drop them in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. If you enjoy this, well, join us on social media. It's MotoManTV, all one word, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you got some value out of this episode, we'd appreciate it if you would share this episode. It would mean a lot to us. Until next time, à la prochaine.